Everyone's losing their minds thinking AI will steal their brand strategy jobs. And the brutal truth is, they will take many. GPT already cranks out brand audits, competitive analysis, positioning statements, and what was once sold as $20,000 deliverables is doing it faster than you can say strategic framework. But if you're worried about AI stealing your clients, you're staring at the wrong problem entirely. Your competition isn't some algorithm that spits out persona maps. It's the strategists down the road who crack the code on what AI will never touch, guiding clients through decisions with calm conviction when their entire budget and their dreams depend on it, when they're overwhelmed with AI's increasing ability to spit out answers, and when nerves are frayed and indecision has taken over. That's not some feel-good soft skill. That's your bulletproof advantage in the world we're now in. The AI panic machine has strategists convinced that their job is research, analysis, perfectly formatted deliverables. And of course, AI smashes those tasks with a half-decent prompt. But the real problem isn't losing your ability to build a SWOT matrix or deliver a comprehensive buyer persona. It's losing relevance when clients need someone they trust to guide them forward, challenge the easy answers, and to help steer difficult decisions. Strategy was never about having every answer preloaded in your back pocket. It's about reading the room, digital or physical, when the CEO's ego is trying to guide towards a predetermined outcome. It's catching the moment when fear is being brushed under the carpet. It's knowing when to shut up and let the silence do the heavy lifting instead of filling it with advice that kills the opportunity for real insight. AI can process a research report, likely conducted by AI, but it can't feel the room, provide an environment of genuine collaboration and discovery between people, feeding off of each other's energy, and it certainly can't put an arm around the client, figuratively or literally, to give them a sense of confidence and conviction that they need. And until it can, you're not going anywhere. Now, if you think your genius lives inside the strategy document and the final deliverables that you spent weeks perfecting, you're missing where the actual magic happens. Great strategists don't win on deliverables. They win in the feeling they give their clients, the orchestration of the engagement and the process and the nuance in either making a decision or guiding the client towards the decision they know in their bones is right. Real facilitation isn't about explaining your research clearly. It's about asking the right questions, digging deeper for real breakthroughs, challenging lazy answers, and using experience as a mirror. The smartest person in the room rarely makes the best strategist. Instead, they're the person who makes smart people act decisively through a mix of intuition, experience, and a way of human thinking that is completely different from one person to the next. Now look, AI is probably already selecting your playlists, maybe doing your vacuuming, probably halfway to changing the tires and putting the kids to bed, and it'll keep getting better. But just because AI can do something, it doesn't mean that it should. Tucking your kids into bed isn't a task, it's a ritual. There's emotion in it, there's a connection, there's an education, and that's the point. Whether you have kids or not, you know this to be true either way. The same thing happens with strategists and consultants and their clients. Workshops aren't just a box to tick before the deck gets built. They're where clients start to actually understand their audience, where they hear what they've never said out loud, where they feel the weight of their own message for the very first time. And when they've been in the room and they've faced those trade-offs, they've wrestled with those tensions, and they've seen the brand take shape from the ground up, there's buy-in, there's ownership, and that's what moves strategy from nice deliverables to this is our brand. AI can generate an output, but it can't give your client that moment of realization, that epiphany, the education and experience of the process, and that's what they'll remember. Look, I've said it before and you'll hear me say it again, clients don't pay strategists for polished deliverables or clever insights alone. They hire you for the moments when the data runs dry and the decisions demand courage, or when they need you to ask the right question, when you know there's an insight just lying there in wait. And when the leadership team is paralyzed by conflicting priorities, or a CEO clinging to a failing idea, or their spouse's failing idea, AI can churn out options, but it can't navigate the human tension in the room. Your value lies in cutting through that fog, in asking those questions that reframes the problem, or spotting those unspoken fears derailing the process. It's about giving your clients the clarity to act, not just the data to think. You're not selling a report, you're selling the confidence to move forward when the stakes are high and the doubt is louder than logic. Now, without doubt, AI can analyze markets and generate frameworks, but it falls apart in three critical human moments. First, when a team's fractured. Half want bold, half want safe. And you need to read those undercurrents and ask the questions that really expose the divide in the team and guide them to alignment without forcing it. Second, when momentum stalls, so there are a lot of objections, there's not a lot of confidence in the room, and the project is kind of on the edge. You don't just recite data in these scenarios. You reset the room with a story or a challenge or a pause that lets the truth surface. And third, when legacy thinking or kind of old way of thinking clashes with the new realities or the opportunities that lie in front. Only you can balance the instinct with evidence, knowing when to push, when to let the client arrive at the answer themselves, and when to push forward, when to take your foot off the brake. These are the little nuances in the decisions that you make and what your clients are actually paying you for. And when they see that and when they feel that, they feel taken care of. And AI is stripping this confidence. It's stripping the nuances in the language, in the decision making, and how brands are put together, and that's the value that you offer. These aren't tasks, they're instincts, and AI can't replace them. Now, can a brand leader sit down at GPT, dump in all the information they have on their brand and their market, and ask for a strategy? Of course, it's happening all around the world as we speak. But what's also happening is a lack of connection and conviction to the strategy and the brand. Again, building a brand is not about churning out deliverables. It's about a process of deep consideration that the whole leadership team need to be involved in, and it simply cannot be skipped without a lack of conviction and connection at the end of it. Facilitation isn't a soft skill, it's a precision tool. You're orchestrating a room full of egos, doubts, half-formed ideas into a unified direction. It's knowing when to ask a provocative question that cracks open the hidden truth, or when to stay silent, letting the client's own realization or epiphany fill that space. You're reading subtle cues all along the journey here. Hesitation in the voice, a glance that shows a little bit of uncertainty, and using them to steer without really dominating. This is all a subtle dance that you have with the leadership team and everybody involved. This is about guiding them to trust their own decisions. AI can't sense the moment that the team's ready to commit or when they're hiding from the real issue. And that's your edge, human judgment, sharpened by experience that turns chaos into clarity. So stop selling your strategy as a product, frameworks, or deliverables, and start selling the ability to make strategy stick. Start selling that clarity, start selling that conviction and that confidence and that peace of mind and that environment and experience that you bring them through that builds a relationship. Clients don't need another report. They don't need more answers. Trust me, GPT is spitting out thousands per day and per week. They need a partner who can navigate messy human dynamics that kill good ideas before they even start. You're not a consultant delivering answers. You're a catalyst for action. The one they trust when the path forward feels a little bit fuzzy, a little bit unsure, a little bit like a gamble. Position yourself as the person who brings alignment when teams are split, when the leadership doesn't know where to go, when they have more answers than insights and more strategies than conviction to execute them. That's not a deliverable, it's a role that no AI can fill. And when you shift from selling insights to enabling decisions, you become indispensable. Not just hired, but relied upon. Look, your real value will show in the messy middle. When a client's team is stuck, egos flare, or fear of failure clouds judgment, or even when you just know that your clients need the right questions in the right moments because they have all of the information and the insights behind that information to guide the right decisions towards the right strategy. All of these human things. AI can spit out the perfect positioning statement, of course, but it can't sense those subtle moments and that human connection and that experience that you need to make those decisions in that moment, and what that does for the confidence and the peace of mind to the leadership team as you do. It's not about having all the answers. It's about guiding the room to the right ones. You create the space where clients confront hard truths and make bold choices, not because you dictated them, because you made the path feel safe and clear and gave them the space for understanding and the confidence and the conviction to grow. That's the human edge that AI can't touch. Now look, the reality is strategy isn't a tidy deliverable. It's a messy human process with indecision, nuances and hidden agendas, and all of these things colliding at once. Your job isn't to give more answers or advice. It's to own that chaos, not to add to it. You step into the tension. You surface those fears. You anchor the room. You do it all by listening between the lines, spotting the real issue beneath all of that noise, and guiding without forcing. Clients don't remember your final delivery document. They just don't. They remember the moment that you help them to see their brand clearly for the very first time and then to act on it with conviction. When you master navigating that mess, turning that uncertainty into momentum, you're not just a strategist anymore. You're the one they need and the one they can't replace and don't want to be without.